Well, hello again everyone, and I'm here on plot 1 on a quite chilly December morning and on the leek bed. And as you can see, I have removed the very fine veggie mesh and I've put that on to protect the plants from both the leek moth and the allium leaf miner. Both the leek moth and the allium leek miner have 2 generations of larvae that burrow into particularly the shanks of the leeks, and therefore the veggie mesh is meant to stop them from doing that. And so far I have harvested a few of these and haven't found those tiny little black 1mm things inside there, so I'm hopeful for the rest of it. Just a quickie, the leek moth is around about from May to June and from August to October, and the allium leaf miner from March to June and September to November. So I'm hoping that in December now they've decided not to come in and do a bit of burrowing or laying of eggs. The problem I have had on this patch has been rust, and if you have just a little rust it's not a problem, but about 3 or 4 weeks ago I removed an awful lot, a whole bag full of the rust, and obviously didn't put it on the compost heap because of the spores, but threw it out. And this here is below 0, which is meant to be resistant to rust, and it's not very resistant, but I shall take a bit more of this rust off. They're still edible, they're still fine leeks, you can eat them, it's not a problem. I did see below 0 looking beautiful in September in a garden somewhere, and then by October they were full of rust. So I'm not sure just how rust resistant they are, but I think I'm going to get a reasonable harvest from these leeks. I'm not so sure I like these Bulgarian giants. They're so weedy and long, and you don't get a lot with thin shanks. I have planted some separately, like over there, and multiple planting over here, and I'm not sure that I like the multiple planting so much. They're fine with spring onions, but I'm not sure I like them with leeks, but we'll see how that goes. To the side of it is my great shame that I haven't shown you for a long time. This was my second strawberry bed, and I was transplanting strawberries from that bed over there as that bed grew old and the strawberries grew older than 3 years old, and passing them on to here, but I've let it go, and there's at least 3 awful lots of weed in here, and it's going to take me a long time to completely clear this bed, pot up the few strawberries that I have, and to replant with other plants in the spring, or maybe later than that. And here we are on plot 2, and it's early December, and that's where the dahlias were, and isn't it looking so sad and forlorn? And now I've covered the dahlia patch with 12 bags of manure, need maybe a quarter bag over in that area over there, and then I've got to cover it with water permeable membrane. But as it started to rain a little bit, and I know tomorrow there's going to be an absolute deluge, that's me for today. I'm shattered and I'm going home to eat lots of Christmassy stuff. I'm hoping that the foxes won't dig this up too much before I get it covered, because they do like to eat worms, and I should think there are 1 or 2 worms in there, but not many. Well, the foxes didn't dig up the manure, and I'm so pleased about that. And it's now covered with 2-meter wide water permeable membrane, and I couldn't get 2 meters in B&Q a couple of years ago. They might do it now, so I got it online, and I'm so glad I did, because I got a whole roll of it, so I don't have to keep paying post and packaging fees. I've now covered this with cardboard, which the worms love, the bacteria love. I've covered it with compost, well rotted manure, and I've covered it with water permeable membrane. I'm so hoping that the dahlias will survive till next year. The dahlias survived last year's winter in this way, so maybe they'll survive this year. I hope so. In that spot over there I dug up a very large patch of dahlias which I don't want, which I'll show you later what I do with them. Last year I mentioned that I was concerned about the fraying edges once I've cut them, because on here we've got plastic all over the place, all these little tendrils, and so last year I had used duct tape or gaffer tape, and I was a bit concerned because I'm adding plastic to plastic, but Terry King of Terry King's Allotment, I think it used to be Robotic Gardening on a Budget, sorry Terry, he suggested I cauterise it, and that's exactly what I did on the stove. It might not look too pretty, but it does the job, so I'm very pleased with that. And here is the dahlia plant that I've dug up. I'll be splitting that, potting it up, and putting it in a very drafty garage and hope it will survive till next year. The ones I did last year did survive that way, and so I'll be doing the same again. And there is my putty can. And here are the split and potted up dahlias, and I'll now put them away. I will be cutting down all the stems until you can't see them, and hopefully they will survive till next year. And on the other side of the dahlias is my very long thin raspberry patch, which haven't done very well this year. I've still got to cut down some of these. I've cut down some of them and dig up some of them that are closer to the edge. And I'm wondering if they didn't do well because I can't remember whether I put some wood ash on. Raspberries like a slightly acidic soil of 5.5, pH 5.5 to 6.5. Neutral is pH of 7. And they're not as acidic or liking acidic soil as much as blueberries, which want a pH of 4.5 to 5.5. But wood ash is a pH of 9 to 11, which would made this soil really a bit more alkaline, but that might not be the reason. But what I will do is to apply some ericaceous soil here and some well-rotted manure, and it might be an idea in the future to learn a bit more about soil testing, either a meter, a soil testing meter, which I don't think is as accurate as actually taking a sample and sending it off, but the latter might be just a bit too expensive to do on a regular basis. And on plot 2 there is the overwintering radar onions, and in the front are some forget-me-nots that I transplanted. They had seeded themselves, and I do need my flowers. And over there are the Griselle shallots, which have come up quite nicely. Moving to the side of that are the Lidl garlic, which I had planted about 2 weeks after the Provence white garlic, and they shot up, and I hope they will do well as the weather changes. And over here, if you can see them, are absolutely sorry example of the Provence white garlic. I'm just not sure whether I'm going to bother with them. And over in that space there, in the spring, I will plant a few spring onions. And at the back of the plot, the overwintering broad beans, the Aquadulce Claudia, are doing quite well. And I've now managed to tie all of them up. Actually, I forgot to tie one of them up, and it shows you just how much it needs tying up. And that's the one I had put a stake in, but had forgot to tie up, and I'll be doing that now. And they're looking quite good as well. And I started collecting leaves. Like last year, I'll collect about 20 odd bags. This lot was really dry, so I shall swish it around in the water there, not soak it, and then I'll put about 2 bags into one black bag here and mix it in with watered down a mixture of urine and or other nitrogenous liquids such as nettle liquid manure. And because it helps, the nitrogen helps the breakdown. First I think it's fungi that grow there, and later on it's the bacteria that breaks it down. There are not many flowers around at this time of the year, and this is a hardy fuchsia called Dollar Princessin. I hope you found this video of interest, and I hope to speak to you soon next year. I wish you all a very happy Christmas.